Can you tell that I'm addicted to blush? How do I start my videos? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. My name is Lil and today we are gonna be looking at something I saw on BuzzFeed, and it is the people are sharing the movies they think are overrated, and oh my, it's a little spicy article written by Natasha Jokic. I read some interesting things and I felt like some were justified and some were not so justified, so I just thought that, hey, let me make a video. I just want to start this video off by saying that everyone is entitled to their own opinions, and yeah, some opinions can be wrong and some can be right, but at the end of the day we can't all think the same, we can't all receive media the same way. So yeah, so I'm gonna try and not spoil the movies for anyone on this list, but yeah, if I'm gonna spoil something, I'm gonna say spoiler warning. But yeah, so the first movie on this list was A Star Is Born, and the person said it's okay, but it's not super compelling or special. The movie kind of drags and it has a really weird blue filter that makes everything look washed out. Okay, so for me, I kind of agree with this person. I'm not gonna say it wasn't compelling. I think it was kind of hard to watch, and I think it was supposed to be hard to watch because it does have some heavy themes, like mental illness, addiction, and things like that. And for me, I felt that it kind of did drag, and yeah, there was that weird filter over the whole movie that I didn't really particularly like. But I do think it was good. I mean, it's relevant, but like, geez, it was not meant to be an enjoyable watch. I think it had to show you like the raw, world of being successful, being relevant in the entertainment industry, and also dealing with addiction and loving someone who has an addiction. And yeah, it was not meant to be fun to watch, but I do think it was compelling, but it did kind of drag for me. But yeah, I don't agree with the fact that it wasn't compelling. I think they were just bored, but it was compelling. But yeah, the blue filter thing, I did not like it. The next one on this list was the Star Wars trilogy, and there's gonna be some angry people. Like, I'm a Star Wars fan, but I mean, I am very honest about my feelings about it. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it misses. I mean, I tell my friends all the time, Star Wars is a telenovela in space, but y'all aren't ready for that. So the person said, it's nowhere near as good as people say it is. I understand that for its time, it was groundbreaking, but how can people still say it's their favorite movie? It's pretty boring, and it's pretty boring in terms of its character progression, world building, and general plot. Okay. I can totally understand where someone is coming from when they say that it's boring in terms of its character progression. I get it. I mean, it's an old movie. Like, let's be real, these are old movies, and storytelling was different back then. People weren't always trying to be rushing to any sort of conclusion. But I think George Lucas was really trying to focus more on the storytelling aspect of it. He didn't want to just focus on the action or the Jedi magic, mind tricks things. He wanted to really focus on the actual story, and this is why I say it's a telenovela in space, because it takes a while for people to reach any form of real character development per se. But then again, I don't really agree with this. I know it's not perfect, I know it can be corny, but I mean, movies back then were really corny. But if you're not a fan of, dramatic, over the top, cheesy things, then this sci-fi trilogy is just not for you. I don't know what to tell you. And then they go on to put the Star Wars sequels, and I'm just like, oh, I don't even know why this is on the list, because I feel like a lot of people felt like the Star Wars sequels were overrated, like across the board. It seems sort of like a general consensus, and for me, I enjoyed them. They were not perfect, but I mean, I think for me, I've accepted. As I said, for me, they're just a telenovela in space, so I expect the cheesy love stories. I expect the cheesy one-liners and the over-the-top acting sometimes. I expect all that, and I don't watch Star Wars to think. So the person says, for the amount of money Disney spent acquiring the rights, you'd really think that they'd have a rough idea about which direction they wanted to take the new trilogy in. Okay, I totally understand where this person is coming from, because we were not, I don't want to spoil because these are relatively new. I know people were like, hey, let all the movies come out and then I'm gonna binge them. So yeah, so basically things just didn't go the way that we thought that they were going to go. I don't know if they did it on purpose. They didn't want the fan theories to be correct, but they kind of just were doing everything in their power to shock us, but they just ended irritating a lot of people. And yeah, Disney, hey, this was not their best, offering. You know what I'm saying? The next movie on this list is Frozen, and you guys, let's hear what this person has to say. So the person says, I love Disney, but it seemed very low effort and unoriginal, especially compared with other Disney movies. Okay, so first of all, this is not even an original story. They have already said that this is like loosely based on the Snow Queen, so I don't really know what this person was trying to achieve in saying that it wasn't very original. Most of the other Disney classics are also based on fairy tales or real life people, so originality, I don't know what they mean. Do they mean in the way that they told the story or whatever? I don't know, but it's the first Frozen. I don't know. I think sometimes people just get really critical of movies that are well received. I feel Frozen was a very good movie. It was self-aware, especially the whole thing of falling in love, falling in love with the first man that you see, trying to get married to the first man that you see. I really feel that they really were self-aware in that respect, and I think it was an original take on their own style of making movies. And I don't agree with this person whatsoever. The music was bomb, the animation was bomb, the story was bomb. I mean, Elsa is a self-made woman. Like, can we respect her? I don't know what this person wanted. I high-key feel they really wanted the same formula, but just because it was, people like to hate on popular things, and it kind of irritates me. Like, if you don't want to jump on a bandwagon, then go and be unique somewhere else and let people enjoy what they want to enjoy. The next movie on the list is Avatar, and no, not the last Airbender, the blue people one. And yeah, the person says it was super overrated by critics. It had very impressive CGI, but the plot was unoriginal, a decent film at best. Okay, I totally agree that this plot was nothing original. Very much colonizer comes, colonizer falls in love with the chief's daughter. Very Pocahontas-y. But I think why this movie popped off so much was the whole CGI thing. I mean, the time it came out, people were still making strides in CGI, and this whole movie was shot in CGI, and it looked amazing. It looked beautiful. And I think that's why a lot of people were drawn to this movie. The cinematography, the world, it was absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, the story, it's a story of colonialization and it's not original. But I think for the time, I think the hype was very appropriate for it because it was something we had never seen before, you know? The next movie on this list really is one of my faves. I've spoken about it before. I've spoken about it before, and I really like this movie, and it's A Quiet Place, and the person unprovoked says it's just a monster flick, and compared with something like The Thing or Alien, it's downright anticlimactic. I don't know what movie they were watching, and I mean, there's only so far creature features can go. There's a formula, and I think they did their best to try and not be too predictable with it, and I think it was a fun watch. I don't know why people look for it. I think there's so much pressure on horror movies, thrillers, to be something totally original, and that pressure is not put on things like dramas or comedies, and it kind of irritates me. You know, there's an unfair microscope that's placed on movies like A Quiet Place, and I don't think that it's very fair. And I personally feel like it was a very good movie, very entertaining, somewhat original, and I like that a lot. The next one is The Notebook. The person said, I don't understand why people think it's romantic. It's stupid and problematic AF. Okay, honestly, The Notebook is just one of those. It's just like a proper, like, old school romance. Like, it has to have all the drama of a telenovela squeezed into, an hour, 32 hours? I don't remember how long that movie is. And it's just like a roller coaster. You know, for some reason, people like to watch people suffer when they love. They just love to watch. You know, Romeo and Juliet, like Shakespeare wasn't wrong when he wrote stories like that, you know? And also like Wuthering Heights, like, you know, stories like that are just so, people want to see people struggle. They want to see people struggle when they love someone. I don't know why people are sadistic, but I mean, it's fun, I guess. You know, I do understand that the twist at the end, spoiler, the twist at the end where you find out that that's the wife, and like he's telling the wife their love story because she's got like some sort of dementia. It's like, why? People just found it like a lot, but I know a lot of people who really love The Notebook. I love The Notebook, and I personally agree with the fact that it is problematic. It's very problematic. Especially now in 2020, you look back and you're like, But yeah, it's set in like, I don't know, the 60s. I think it's the 60s. Where, you know, if you're from a rich family and you fall in love with someone who is poor or middle class, your mom is like, no, like you can't do that. You're gonna just bring dishonor to this family. Like, come on. Everybody loves a Romeo and Juliet story. So yeah, I guess that's why it was super popular. I guess today it wouldn't be that popular because everyone is like, ew, no, like, why don't you just stand up for what you want? The next movie on the list is The Hunger Games. Well, let's see what they have to say. So for me, it's this series, Divergent, Maze Runner, and The Hunger Games. The same teenage hero heroine in a dystopian future. So formulaic? Yeah. So formulaic and predictable. Okay, seriously? I feel like everybody knows I love me a good post-apocalyptic world. I love it. And Maze Runner, I love Maze Runner. I really like The Hunger Games. Obviously, towards the end, it just became... I think I like the first two movies. Yeah, I like the first two movies. I feel like they failed to execute for me personally, I feel like they failed to execute the other two. I don't know how many movies are there. I'll put it somewhere. Fake fan. Divergent series was garbage. Like, let's not even get into that. But like, yeah, there is a formula. I mean, there has to be someone. I mean, young adult post-apocalyptic movies, I mean, there always has to be a hero. And I feel like the people who enjoy these movies are the same people that enjoy like shonen anime, you know, we like seeing the chosen one to destroy the walls, to you know, bring peace to the world or to the city or to the town or wherever the fuck. And you know, it's just, you know, it is what it is. Like, I completely agree with this person, but I do personally enjoy that whole formula thing, and I do appreciate when they put a twist on it, but like, I ain't mad. As long as the acting is good, the story is somewhat immersive, because I can't say believable, because a lot of these are like so stupid. But like, yeah, as long as it's immersive and it can drag me in. The next movie on this list is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. This is one of my favorite movies. The person says, that movie is so slow, I could barely even sit through it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a very, okay, first of all, let me start off by saying something that might be controversial or not. I hated the main character. I hated Scott. I hated him so much. I did not like him at all. But I loved everyone else. Yeah, Scott was garbage. He was a garbage person. But yeah, that's, maybe if you want me to make a video on that, I can. But like, yeah. I don't feel like the movie was slow. Maybe it's because it was supposed, it's kind of like a video game where you go through stages, and I don't know if they didn't like the fact that he had to beat every one of Ramona's exes to get to the boss at the end. I don't know what type of situation, I don't know what this person wanted from this movie, but for me, it's an amazing movie. I love it. When it came out, it wasn't like, it didn't make the splash that it was supposed to make, but as the years went on, people started appreciating it more and more, and I mean, I love it. I don't agree with this person, but they're entitled. I mean, maybe they just don't like Michael Cera's face. Also, next is Best Girl. The next movie on here is another one of my favorite movies. It's one of my favorite horror movies, especially in the new era of horror movies, and it's Hereditary. The person says, maybe I'm not appreciating it fully, but it was just too weird and artsy for me. The special effects weren't great either. Okay, Hereditary was not artsy, in my opinion. I think Midsommar was more artsy than Hereditary. I think Hereditary was just somewhat of a slow burner, but I mean, I think it was a really good slow burner in that in every single chapter, I'm gonna say chapter, in every single chapter of this movie, they gave us something spooky, something messed up, and I think the special effects were fine. I don't know, I think they're referring to that scene where I want you to watch Hereditary. I think they just didn't like the symbolism, but I think the symbolism was fine. I think this person just doesn't like slow burner, more drama type horror movies, and that's totally fine. I mean, horrors are an acquired taste, and I totally understand and respect that. The next movie on this list is The Blair Witch Project. Oh, this one is kind of like, yeah, it's like Marmite. Hey, you either love it or you hate it. The person says, I always see praise for it. I suppose when it came out in 1999, it might have been spooky. It was clearly an original concept and done well on their budget, but I just find it boring. Okay, this was like the movie that really, for me personally, that said, hey guys, found footage movies can really be that bitch. And it really did start like the oversaturation of found footage movies, and it's one of my least favorite genres of filmmaking, because I think people just overdo it with the shaky cam, and it's just like, for God's sake, we're trying to watch the movie. I know in real life, if we found something on someone's phone, it would be shaky, but like, let's be real. We need to also follow the movie. But for me, I really liked the Blair Witch Project. It is definitely 100% a slow burner, that is for sure. You know, it paved the way for movies like Paranormal Activity and Friends, you know. You know, the whole point of slow burner movies especially slow burner horror movies, is so that you feel like you're suffocating. You're supposed to be on the edge of your seat waiting for the, it's just like, but I'm sorry, sometimes people just want to see the ghost or the witch or the murderer like eating people off the bat. And yeah, I agree with this person, but for me personally, I loved it. The next movie is Captain America Civil War, and this person says, the premise made absolutely no sense whatsoever. Yikes. The alignment of most of the characters is seemingly random, and there were no real stakes. You know that everyone's going to come back together in the end. Okay. I kind of agree with some of this. I did kind of find it weird how some of the alignments were made. Because for me personally, some of them didn't make any sense. Especially for Black Widow and Hawkeye. They were just playing. Like, they were just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were just there for bands. Probably trying to be prefects on both sides, but the rest of the characters I was just like, okay. I mean, yes, it was obvious that would all be holding hands, kumbayaring at the end of the whole situation, but the thing that irritated me about this movie was the fact that it was not really made clear that spoiler. Yeah, so we knew that Bucky was being mind controlled or whatever, and I feel like eventually, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, it was kind of unrealistic the way Tony was like so adamant to like, I don't know, was he trying to kill Bucky or take him to jail? I can't remember, but like he was so adamant even after he realized or knew that Bucky was being fucking mind controlled. And I feel like Tony, yes, he's hot-headed, he's emotional, but I feel like he's more rational than that. I know, it just kind of felt stupid to me. But I did love that movie. It's one of my favorites in the whole that phase, I really like that movie. I totally agree. I totally understand where this person is coming from. But you know what? It's a comic book movie. It's not supposed to make sense all the time. If you want things to make sense all the time, like, go watch something that's Oscar bait, guys. Leave us alone to enjoy our lives. The next movie on this list is Uncut Gems, and my god, before I even read what the person said, this movie, I think it took me 4 days to finish this movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It took me 4 days to watch it because it's cringy. It's so cringy. And I remember sending voice notes to my friend Grim every day because he watched it. And he's like, hey, Lumbi, you should watch Uncut Gems. And I was like, okay, I'll watch it. Oh, guys, like, the guy. Let me not get ahead of myself. Let me read what the person said. So the person says, I didn't enjoy it nearly as much as everyone else seemed to. It was a movie about an unlikable man making terrible decisions, one after another. My dear, you are correct. The guy, I hated that character so much. Do you know that friend who always asks for your advice but never follows your advice? This is the boy. This is the guy who behaves like, oh my god, feel sorry for me, I'm going through this. But all his problems are self-made, man-made, self-inflicted abuse. It was very believable. I thought it's a good movie. I don't think it was supposed to be easy to watch. I think you were supposed to feel like it's cringe. It's like a very cringe-worthy movie because we all know people like this. And yeah, we were all supposed to be triggered. I think that was the whole point of this movie. We were all supposed to be triggered, and my god, was I triggered. But the ending was very satisfying for me, and I know a lot of people who have seen it will probably be like, Lumbi, what's wrong with you? I love you too. The next movie on this list is a Joker, and oof, that one has very controversial takes on it, but let's hear what the person said. The person says Joaquin Phoenix's performance was phenomenal, but the movie itself was just okay. It had surface level themes, and everything it tried to do has been done better elsewhere. I wish they gave us examples. It was good, but nowhere near the masterpiece people make it out to be. Okay. I really like Joker. It is kind of slow in some parts. It's not your standard like DC movie where people are running around getting beaten like from the get-go. It's not an action movie. It's a think piece. I think the themes were relevant. I don't think the themes are supposed to be unique. I think they were supposed to be relevant. And like I said in this video, go watch it, the Talk on Friends. You know, it's a movie that is not necessarily supposed to humanize the Joker. People love watching serial killer documentaries to get to know why, you know, if anything steered them in that direction. Like, is it nature versus nurture? You know, is it in the genes? Is there the kill gene? You know, and yeah, I think it was very relevant. It's like very heavily focused on mental health care, family dynamics. I think the themes are perfectly appropriate for the movie. I think it did a good job of making us not really empathize too much with the Joker, because at the end of the day, he is a garbage person. He's a garbage can. I, for one, really enjoyed this movie because I did enjoy seeing the story focused on the Joker, like 100%. Very fascinating, because he is one of those characters who's extremely popular but shrouded in mystery. You know, like there's just so many theories about him, and just he's been like, if you read the comic books, he's just shown in so many different lights. Like, he's self-aware that he's in a comic book and that's why he's a garbage can, or he's just a psychopath who just enjoys killing. Like, there's just so many versions, and I really enjoyed seeing this take, and I really liked the performance. Like he said, it was phenomenal. His performance was phenomenal. I think the movie was great. I think the hype was appropriate. Oops. The last movie on this list, oof, my lord. The last movie on this list is the Dark Knight Trilogy. Yo, like, I'm also like ready to throw these hands because I did like it, but let's see what the person said. I love the idea of a more serious and realistic Batman. I really do. However, it failed miserably at making Batman/Bruce Wayne a compelling character. He's a horrible businessman whom everybody hates, apart from Alfred and Rachel. Well, I think I see where this person is coming from. The movies were great, dark, gritty. The last movie had a little bit of it. You know, I mean, nuclear bomb, but anyway, let's not get into that. But like, it does have, this person does have a point. It goes back to the whole, do you read the comic books type of situation? Like, Bruce does like to have this facade of this unlikable person, because I mean, if he forms too many friendships and relationships, then he won't have time to be a superhero. But I do feel like they did not do justice in terms of making him like you, Bruce Wayne. Like, who are you? Like, what are you about? Like, yes, we know the necklace, the mother, the father, we know all those things, but like, we want to get into his psyche, what makes him genuinely tick. And I mean, like, obviously, if you are a fan of Batman and you have been immersed in the comic books, in the animated series, you know better, you have a better understanding of him. If you've watched the animated movies, like, you have a better understanding of him. But for people who the Dark Knight Trilogy was their first and only introduction to Batman on that level, like, who is she? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, yeah, I totally understand where they're coming from, but it is what it is. Yeah, so I will link this list down in the description for you to go and read for yourself if you want to. And yeah, let me know movies that you feel were highly overrated in the comments, and I'll let you know if I agree or not. If you want to find me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, wherever. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please click on the bell notification if you enjoy my content. Videos every Thursday. And yeah, bye.